We are now joined by Ryan Walters, the Oklahoma State Superintendent, who's bringing in the PragerU endorsed curriculum for those California and New York teachers who seek to teach in your beautiful state of Oklahoma. Mr. Walters, thank you for joining Right Side Broadcasting Network. Showcase with us what kind of civics test this will be. Will this be a requirement for all new teachers in Oklahoma?
Yes, I got to give Gavin Newsom a lot of credit. I mean, he is the most radical governor we've seen in this country. He came in and said our teachers are required to teach radical gender theory, that there's 27 genders, that there's no differences between the genders. And we said, listen, we're recruiting teachers using the free market here. We pay $50,000 for the top 10% of teachers across the country to move here. We do merit pay in Oklahoma. I know that sounds like pretty common sense, but you don't see that much in education. You can make up to six figures if you're a great teacher in Oklahoma. So we're getting teachers from all over the country coming in Oklahoma with our turnaround in education. And we've seen this radical war on our classrooms from the teachers union, from Gavin Newsom. And we said, listen, if you're going to come into our state, we've got to have the precautions to ensure you're not a left-wing indoctrinator coming in to undermine our education system. And of course, I called my friends at PragerU, Marissa, a good friend. I said, hey, you helped us write our standards. We launched PragerU in every classroom. Can you help us develop a test, an America First test, to ensure, our teachers know the difference between males and females, like my 4-year-old knows, that our teachers actually understand the Constitution and the form of government we've got in this country. And so we're happy to launch the first test of its kind. And frankly, every state should follow.
Share with us some of the questions and the time of it and how many there will be. Is it regards to more civics or what's actually happening currently in 2025 America?
No, great question. So just to give you a breakdown, it's really two-part. One is the radical gender theory that's being pushed in states like California and New York. Can you define the genders? Can you define what is the differences between the two genders? Can you identify the facts in biology between males and females? Number two is a robust, we already require a citizenship test, a civics test of our teachers here. So what we wanted to see is, do you understand the basics of the American form of government? Do you understand the Constitution? Do you understand the Declaration of Independence and its role in our government? I mean, again, these are very common sense questions. When we roll out the test, we encourage all your viewers, go look at it, go take it. We've already had teachers from all over the country going, we want to take this test. So we're very excited to launch it. We're very excited to get it out there. Again, this should be common sense. When you're in a public school classroom, you're going to learn about whatever the curriculum is, what the standards are. You're not going to be forced to be a social justice warrior by a teachers union Marxist teacher whose desire is to not educate but indoctrinate.
Well, I think it ends up protecting families in two ways. First and foremost, you're teaching biological sex, what the actual property of the person is, and what God had intended through natural law. So you have that. Now there can be disagreement on, do I want to live my life this way? Do I want to live my life that way? But it seems with this test, you'll be able to actually dialogue that rather than the Marxist version of things saying, this is all that there is. And basically, if you don't agree with my indoctrination, there's the door. And then so that disservices students, because we've heard of too many occasions, whether it's K through 12 or the college and universities, where these students pretend to have an opinion in order to simply get by and get that good grade.
That's exactly right. I was a teacher for 10 years before stepping into this role. I was a history teacher. And it's so important. Teach the facts of history. Let kids come to their own conclusion. We teach it all here in Oklahoma. We have the best history standards in the country. We want our kids to be patriotic. We want them to be good citizens. We cover all of history. You're going to get everything. You're going to get those core principles. We have more about the founders. We put the Bible back in our curriculum because it's part of history. It's absurd that the left took the Bible out of the classroom. Again, that's up for you to have your own opinion on it, but it was there. The founders cited it time and time again. So again, what we're trying to do is give kids access to facts, access to history, access to real science and biology. And again, they will come to their own conclusion. What we're not going to allow are left-wing indoctrinators to say, no, this is the way it is, and I'm going to force my belief system on you.
Two of the questions I have come across that I really love in this, what are two parts of the U.S. Congress? Also, how many senators are there? And it's important because it's again, civics education. Most Americans right now cannot answer those questions. And even the simple question that we used to send our senators to Washington based on state legislatures putting them there rather than having the direct democracy and the popular vote. It's important because if you don't know where you're going, it's often because you haven't looked back in the past.
I love that. One of my favorite quotes from Winston Churchill is the further back you look is the further ahead you can see. And so what we're trying to do is, again, those are pretty common sense questions, right? Very direct. We're not trying to trick anybody. But what we are trying to do is make sure, listen, there's really three large goals in education. Number one, obviously, you want your kids to get the most out of their God-given talents. Number two, you want them to be able to get a job with those God-given talents. But number three, and what we've come so far from, is we want to create good citizens to continue America, to continue the greatest country in the history of the world. When you read our founders, when you look at the basics of education, where it came from, that was a big part of this. Understand the American form of government, why it is the way that it is. To your point, understand our history, come to your own conclusion, but look at those foundational principles, look at why decisions were made, and determine what you think is the best path for America to continue to be great.
And Ryan, I'm very interested in the merit-based form that you've seemed to help institute and create there in Oklahoma, because it's probably the largest difference from, say, the Chicago Teachers Union in Illinois that completely shut down during COVID. And the real tragedy about that is the fact that many of those students, K through 12, relied on their lunch meals from the school, both parents working, in many cases single parents, because sadly throughout the city of Chicago, and the reason for the spike in violence even prior to what took place during the Summer of Love and the COVID pandemic was the fact that many fathers were out of the house. But it was the Chicago Teachers Union that were in bed with the broad and national teachers union that would be very against your merit-based standards. So please showcase why this direction that you're taking just is more common sense for Oklahoma residents, but also how it defends the family.
Great point. We should never forget that. These teachers unions, they don't care about your kids. They care about money and power. That's why they held kids ransom during COVID, saying, federal government, give us billions of dollars or we won't go back to school. We don't care if the kids are going hungry. Some of the most tragic letters I ever received were from parents going, my kid's suicidal, wants to go back to school, wants to see his teachers, wants to see his friends. But again, the teachers unions didn't care. They wanted their power. They wanted their money. We should never forget that. And when you look at merit pay, look, our education system has been socialist to its core. So you're telling me if you're a great teacher, we can all remember a great teacher we had, you get paid the same as a underperforming teacher, as a teacher that isn't putting their best foot forward? That's absurd. It doesn't. You look at anywhere else in the private sector, you pay on merit. It encourages, it incentivizes the basic human nature, which is, hey, yeah, I mean, if you reward me more, that makes me want to do more of this work. So again, what it does is it makes sure that parents or that teachers are listening to parents. They're meeting the goals they have for their kids. They're actively moving the kid forward in their educational experience. And if they meet the needs of the parents, if they do a great job, hey, we're happy to pay you more. We want to pay you more. We want to keep you in the classroom. And so we already have 1,000 teachers on track to make $100,000 through our merit pay system. And we're just going to keep, it's growing. It is blowing up here. I mean, we've got, again, districts are now competing for teachers because that's what parents want. They want a great teacher in the classroom. We introduce merit. We introduce the free market, and it's going unbelievably well here.
Well, exciting to see how Oklahoma is taking the lead on this, and we can't wait to hear more. Have you started off the school year already, or you do that after Labor Day?
Yeah, we're just getting started. A lot of our schools are starting this week or starting after Labor Day, so we're really just getting started, and we're going to have the best school year in state history.
Well, God bless you, Ryan Walters, the Oklahoma State Superintendent. It's a big job, and really coming back from this COVID pandemic, the Summer of Love, where there was so much violence, the devil loves idle hands, and so many people moving to great states like Oklahoma because they want their child to have that American dream, that equal opportunity, and education is that great equalizer that we see from county to county across this great nation of ours. So please come back to RSBN soon and keep us updated, and have a great school year.
Would love to. Thank you for all you're doing. Thank you for having me.